going to ask you a really tough question. Okay.
Okay.
Ohio State is now, I believe, 5-1 under Jake Diebler.
I think they're
right?
4-1.
4-1.
I think it was 4-1.
4-1, but they've beaten Purdue.
Yeah.
They've won at the Breslin Center. They smacked the shit out of Michigan today, which again, everybody kind of smacks Michigan these days. But since firing Chris Holtmann, Jake Diebler has taken over on an interim basis and absolutely crushed it.
Did you say they beat Nebraska too?
Nebraska. Thank you.
Nebraska.
Thank you. So I had somebody in a group chat earlier today say Jake Diebler should get the job, should get the permanent job at Ohio State. What say you?
I mean, I am a big fan of Jake. I have been since high school because he played at Valpo and we'd go up and play open gym.
Yeah.
The fact that he's got this team 4-1 and guarding the way, I mean, you look at it's not like they've all of a sudden got hot from three. Like something has been different within this team of the way they guard. And I guess that's not totally fair because the loss at Wisconsin, they only gave up 62. So that was Holtmann's last game.
Yeah.
But you hold Purdue to 69. The Minnesota game, they couldn't get a rebound. The defensive glass really hurt them. So they gave up 88. And Minnesota can score. Like Minnesota's pretty explosive offensively. They hung 97 on Illinois, although Illinois' defense has fallen off the cliff. Michigan State gets 57, Nebraska scores 69, and Michigan State scores 61. So their defense has been awesome in this stretch here. I think that if Jake were to make the NCAA tournament, I think this is a different discussion. And that would probably require them to beat Rutgers on the road, which will be a tough game on senior day in Piscataway on Sunday.
Yep.
And then they'd probably have to win 2 or 3 in the Big Ten tournament. They'll play Wednesday. You obviously can't lose that game because that could be a bad loss. Do you have to get to the semis again? They did last year, or is it to the quarter?
I mean, maybe not these days. I mean,
I don't know. The bubble seems to be awful, and everyone is just losing all over it. So they're 18-12 right now. Let's say they beat Rutgers. That would make them 19-12 to finish the regular season. If you win Wednesday and Thursday, you're 21-12 with wins over Purdue, at Michigan State, a neutral site win over Alabama, and no quad 3 or 4 losses.
Kind of bananas.
So it's actually wild. It really is, because they lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They lost 8 of 9 games from January 6th to February 6th. They won 1 game in a month. And now we're talking about them like they could. If Jake makes the tournament, I think you would have to, right? Like, and
what you do.
Texas. But I do think, regardless, before you go, I think that Jake Diebler has coached his way into getting a head job somewhere,
100%.
which is great. And he totally deserves that. He's done a great job.
So their Ken Palm number is 53 after today's win. What's
their net? That's
if you run off 3 more, you're gonna move up from that 53. Their net is,
I'm pulling it up right here.
60. Here's what I would do.
That's a little low.
Yeah, no, they got to win. But again, if you're telling me they're going to win 3 more games the next 4, I'll say they're going to move from 60 to 50. So here's what I would do. If they go to the tournament, and I'll give you some insight into what I think is happening at Ohio State anyway with new AD Ross Bjork. If they go to the tournament, sure, it makes it hard for Ross Bjork, especially if he doesn't have his guy, right? If he doesn't have his guy, and Jake Diebler goes to the tournament, you say to him, hey, Jake, here's the deal. I'm going to give you a 1-year deal. I'm going to give you a 1-year deal next year, or I'll give you a 4-year deal with a very, very low buyout, like nothing. The buyout is nothing. I'm going to give you another chance. But ultimately, if you don't go to the tournament next year, we're going to bring in somebody new. If you prove over the course of a season you can do it, then we'll give you a long-term deal.
Right.
That would be the only way I would give Jake Diebler the job. Because, again, he's done it for a short period of time. And, oh, by the way, he was an assistant coach on a team that the head coach got fired.
Yeah.
So,
I just have you seen this Big Ten tournament simulator? I don't know who made this, but this thing is awesome. So you can I basically picked Ohio State.
Andy Katz?
No, it's like it's a website.
I thought Cats made it with every team getting into the NCAA tournament.
No. This is just to simulate the seeding in the Big Ten tournament.
Okay.
So I picked Ohio State to win out, and I just let it pick the favorites to win the rest of the games. And with them winning out and the favorites winning, that puts Ohio State as a 9 seed. So they wouldn't play on Wednesday, which I don't know if that's necessarily good. I would think that, but I guess if you're playing like Indiana or Rutgers, it probably isn't moving the needle anyway. This takes, and if you lose, it doesn't matter for them, but it takes away another opportunity for a not great loss. But it would have them as the 9 seed playing Minnesota, who's the 8. And if they could win playing Purdue, which that does move the needle.
Sure.
So that would be interesting. That would be.
You'd have that game. You'd honestly almost have that game as your championship game.
Then you would play in the semis against probably the winner of Northwestern and Wisconsin, both quad 1 games too. So that does set up for them to make this interesting, though. It does.
I mean, you just want to see them get to a point where they're playing a game that, again, would have a lot on the table.
And I gotta cite my work here. This website is http://bball.notnothing.net/ and
you don't have to read HTTP. You don't have to start with that.
Well, it said that was the website name. So.
You don't have to start. Okay. All right. Ohio State. You want me to tell you what I'm hearing?
Sure.
So again, this is just something that nothing's done yet. I think Ross Bjork's just doing his due diligence as much as he can right now. A lot of people think Sean Miller's involved at Xavier. I've been told he's not at the top of their list. I think the guy who's going to get it, because Greg McDermott's going to end up staying in Creighton unless this thing falls apart. Unless it falls apart, which they're not that far apart numbers-wise right now. They're not that far apart. So I would be shocked if it doesn't get done. I don't think McDermott wants to leave. I just think it's been tough for him because, again, his guy was the AD for so long and Bruce Rasmussen.
Right.
Now he's dealing with Marcus Blossom, new AD, trying to kind of, set his mark there a little bit. And, Max, the guy there. He's the guy there. So, ultimately, I think he stays at Creighton. And I think the next coach at Ohio State is Dusty May. That's who I believe it will be at the end of the day. I think Dusty May from FAU.
What do you think? So
I do.
If Indiana gets like wind of that, what does that change things for them?
I don't think so. I don't think they can move on from Mike Woodson this year unless Mike Woodson is ready. Which I don't think he's. I don't think.
No, I don't. I think he fully. It seems like from talking to him that he is fully.
And they just won 2 good games.
They have, they have.
Right. They beat Wisconsin. They beat Maryland in College Park. 2 decent wins. And you finish with a little momentum. You feel a little bit better about yourself. I don't think Woodson's going anywhere. I wrote that the other day. I think he's going to get 1 more year unless, again, he's the one who initiates stepping down.
I just feel like, wow, that would be hard for Indiana's fan base to swallow. I feel like